In last video what we have done is that we get the instance of main thread. In this video we create the child thread which will be spawned from main thread. In general sense it can be done by creating the thread instance. It can be done either by implementing the runnable interface or extending the thread class. Let us start and create the child thread by implementing runnable interface. So I will create a new class here and call it as thread demo. It will be my main class, tsvm, and it will create the main method. So it is the starting point of our program. Next I will create another class here and call it as new thread. This is the class that implements the runnable implements. Let us implement the runnable interface here. So runnable interface is implemented here, but it is showing me the error. It is saying that you must implement the run method, because run method is very important. It is the starting point of our thread. So I will type here public void run, and then it is done now. But how do we call this run method? This run method is called by the start method, and this start method called by the reference of the thread class. So I must get the reference of the thread class. So how do I get the reference of thread class? By instantiating it. So I want to instantiate the thread reference in the constructor of this class. So I must get the variable t here and then instantiate it. T is equal to new and then thread. There are multiple implementation of this one. I am using the new thread, and then I will pass the runnable instance here, runnable instance, which is this in this case, and then name of the thread, and I will call it child thread, THREAD. Okay, now to call this run I must t.start. So how does our program run? It first goes to main. When I call the new thread, when I create the instance of this newly created class new thread, it will call the constructor. Our program control goes here. It will create the new thread instance and call the start method. When this start method is called, our thread start running. So this code will execute whenever this start is called. But I want to do something here, and I also want to do something in the main thread and distinguish them. One of the easiest ways to print some numbers, and then I will write the sysout to differentiate one from the another. So let me create the for loop here. So for this time I will print the numbers from 5 to 1. For int I is equal to 5 and I should be greater than 0, I minus minus, then sysout, and then main thread, I, thread dot sleep for sleeping, and I will sleep it for 1 second. This code must be encapsulated in try catch. Okay, this I want to do the same thing in this main run method, but change the name from main thread to child thread. Everything is done now. Let me run this program. So it is running now. You can see child thread, main thread, and child thread. They are interleaving. So initially main thread run, and after that, before printing another main thread 4, child thread get printed. So the program controls are interleaved in this case. So I have shown you the first way by implementing the runnable interface. This can also be done by extending the thread class. So I will extend the thread class here. Here I don't need to create the thread instance because in this case the new thread extend thread, so I can call the start method from here just like that. To pass the name, I will call the super method and call it as name is as child thread. It's done, everything is fine now. Let me run it again to show you the output. And you can see that the program is still working fine. Now which approach you choose depends on yourself. Some programmers think it is better to implement runnable interface because in this case you can extend some other class, but finally it is up to you which approach you choose.